WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out. Bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions. Fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, everyone, and welcome to another edition of TACT-EAGLE. We are not talking about, well, we will talk a little bit about the Southampton game, but this is primarily for the upcoming game on Saturday against you-know-who. Anyways, as always, I'm joined with I'm joined by JC. How are you doing today?
I am good. Long day at work, but I am on annual leave next week. So that is going to be very, very nice. And also thank you everyone for tuning in and watching the vlog that we put out the other day. Really good day out. Very happy with the vlog, how it came out. However, someone is copyrighting a song that Rihanna made. So, whoever you are, you're a pagan.
Wait, what? Say that again.
So, someone has, the intro song?
Yeah.
I used it as background music in one of the clips where I was filming a stadium. And someone has uploaded a soundbite that we created onto YouTube as if it was their song, and now they're trying to strike us. But we're currently going through the legal proceedings with YouTube for that one. So it's a little bit of nonsense if you ask me.
That is very naughty. That is that's not good. So whoever you are, you're a pagan. I was going to say something else, but then I thought I'm not going to say it. But yeah, that vlog's done really well. We're 2,600 views. For me, I know we've already had a review, but for me, probably one of the best away days I've done. It was just a great day from start to finish, really. But anyways, we're here to talk about the upcoming games. Big up Durfez, K Sarah, whatever will be. Palace are going to Wembley. Would be nice to know if we are going on the Saturday or the Sunday. As soon as we know, we will be there. And we have also tried to figure out who's going to do a watch along for us, so that there is no bad judge floating around. So we are trying to figure that out.
The test is tomorrow potentially. Who's doing the watch along? I don't know.
I guess
Nicky's at work. I don't know. I don't know about Nate and Rich, but well, all I'm saying is that we may get a watch along from Ree and her brother potentially, just in case.
Love that. And here is Ree in the comments. Big up, Ree. Nice light. That I have to agree. That is a very nice light. Is that from the shop?
No, that's from TikTok shop.
Really?
That's quite good, actually. I got it for my birthday.
That's good. I like that. Big up, Chairman. Big up, Animal. Big up, Dog. Dog. Can we compare the average positions from both Palace and Fulham games if we get time?
I can grab
what
that.
As in what for the FA Cup game? Yeah, we can.
Are we talking about both away games? So the league game at their place and the cup game at their place?
I presume so.
I'm going to assume so.
I love these games because we get to see more rotated players play. Not for this specific one, but we are going to talk about Southampton, which I think a lot of people will want to be will want to be rotated. And yeah, Dog saying both games.
Yeah, I got that.
Animal. They won't play Malcolm, dog. Is he still at the club or is he on loan? I can't actually remember
He's on
now.
loan somewhere.
But let's briefly talk about Southampton. We're not going to talk about Southampton too much. We decided not to talk about basis one on Southampton because, let's be honest, they are crap. Honestly, right? I thought Derby's record was never ever going to get beaten, and they are really giving it a good go. And now I've said that, they're probably going to win and beat and escape Derby's record now. But
us now,
they are just so bad. But there is one talking point about it. I'm not going to do the video yet. I'll save it for the for the other one. But
sorry, I've just had a look at the average positions of our substitutes.
Go on then.
Wait, where is it? This one? Can you do this? This is the average position of our substitutes. Look at Nketiah, Devaney, and Klein.
Oh wow!
Just chilling.
Is that just them coming on the pitch?
I doubt it, because if you look at it, Kamada is like in the right position.
What? So he tried to overload their left-hand side. That's interesting.
Even though he scored on the right hand side.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, does it? But
oh well. Yeah, let me get the rest of this ready, and then.
I mean, that is interesting. That is interesting. But yeah, I think I'm not. I'm just going to put. Why is for some reason why is it not letting me put this up here? Sorry, JC. Do you mind just putting my thing on there? For some reason, it's saying loaded.
Board.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I know this is for the Brighton game, but I think. Obviously, for the Southampton game, there is only one question. I mean, Will Hughes obviously won't be playing, so I would imagine that'll be Jefferson Lerma there. Or will it? Because Chris Richards is not about. I mean, JC, what would you do in this situation? Because Chris Richards is going to play tomorrow, but he should be ready on Saturday.
So if we're talking about the Southampton game, I would just make it so simple and literally straight swap Lerma for Chris Richards and put either Devaney or Kamada in the middle next to Wharton.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I think that's a good shout.
Because last season we did play Lerma at centre-back when we had some injuries to Richards. So that's what I would do. And then for the Brighton game, I've gone with this, but I've just gone Hughes and Wharton with Lerma back there in case Richard's still not back.
All right. Yeah.
Because this is the last game in Hughes' suspension, and then he's back for the Brighton game.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Well, we'll go through Brighton's injuries and
I know
in a minute.
Because I think Glasner was talking about trialing Mitchell as a left centre back, trialing Chilwell as a left centre back. But I'm not going to lie to you, I'd rather keep Mark and Lacroix where they're comfortable. I wouldn't want to mess up those guys at all.
Yeah, sorry, I know, forgive the numbers here, but yeah, that would look something like this. I agree, to be honest. Like, I don't know, that just looks a bit...
Why would we move one of our best players out of their position? There's no need for that.
Exactly, and I also think as well, like, unless he's planning to rotate Gueye, maybe, I don't know, but I do think... It's I agree. I think, and also I think, in my opinion, like we had so many bad games at the beginning of the season, partially because we had to rotate this back three so many times. I just can't see him revisiting that, unless, like I said, he is just gonna bench Gueye or something like that, rest him or something like that. But I don't know why he would do that over, say, Tyron Mitchell. Perhaps I don't really know, to be honest. But that is a potential for the Southampton game. Was there anything else? Oh, yeah, we'll do some score predictions. JC, what do you think the score's going to be tomorrow?
I've gone 2-0 because we've won there 2-0 quite a few times, actually. So I wouldn't say 2-0 quite a few times. I said we've scored 2 goals there quite a few times, but we beat them 2-1 2 times in a row. I think the last time we beat them there before they got relegated was 2-0 as well. I reckon 2-0, but I do reckon that there is a chance that this game could be very interesting, which is which is probably another reason to watch the game. If I was, if you wasn't planning on watching this game, I would plan on it, because I've got a funny feeling that because we're having another one of our crazy game weeks with 3 games in 1 week. I've got a feeling that Glasner could throw a spanner in the works up front, and I say that because I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to give Mateta a little bit longer out. Because to be fair, he weren't great against Fulham. Let's be real about it. He weren't great against Fulham. And I also wouldn't be surprised if he gives maybe Romain Esse his first start in the league, or maybe even a real curveball, start França.
You know what? Honestly, it actually wouldn't really surprise me if any of those players started or got more minutes than maybe we would normally expect them to in the league game. But I think the thing is, like with Southampton, they're such, like, without being really disrespectful to them, like, it's as much of a throwaway game in the Premier League as you're going to get in like recent times. So I think if there's ever going to be a game where you're going to rest players for a team like us, it is going to be this game. And especially, obviously we'll talk about it a bit more, but like when the other team you're playing on Saturday is playing against Villa tomorrow as well, having played 120 minutes of the weekend on Saturday, you know, you are starting to think a battle of fitness here. Is that what it's going to be about? But yeah, I mean, obviously, like we'd like to see players like França and Esse get opportunities as well, as we've been saying for the last few months. But yeah, but I'm going. My prediction as well is 2-0. I can't see Southampton scoring, if I'm to be honest. You know, they've got the worst. Actually, they don't have the worst. They've got the second worst XG created in the league this season. On top of that, they've only scored 21 goals this season, so that's less than a goal a game. I can't.
I do think maybe unpopularly, I do think they have good individuals. Like I do think that Fernandez guy that they've got in the 10 is actually quite a tidy little player there. They've got Khalidine Sulemana, you know, not really done it, but you know, on his day he's a very good footballer. Who's that other guy?
I think
Aribo. I think he's all right on his day.
Yeah.
Like they've got players that are good, like Walker Peters. We've been talking about Walker Peters for ages. It's like they've got good individuals, but they're not. I guess those individuals aren't good enough to keep them in the Premier League. They need a little bit more around the whole squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, like being under Russell Martin earlier in the season, I think they're so far behind now that they're just kind of like.
And for example, when Leicester went down, that was the epitome of you're not too good to go down.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I think other teams could have got sucked into it this season, but I do think there's a mix. I think there's a mixture of either teams aren't good enough, like Southampton, and also play styles like Southampton. A bit of a mix of both, really. But anyways, less about Fulham now. Southampton. And we'll move on to the Brighton game. There are some comments there, but I don't know if I can put them on the screen, especially Animals one. Wouldn't mind a back four going into a 4-5-1. Yeah, I think I'm going to... Yeah, I can't put that one on the screen. Sorry, Animal.
It's a good one, but we can't do it.
Yeah, sorry. And Durf is saying, wouldn't mind a back four going into a 4-5-1. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But anyways, first things first, let me play the video, make sure I get the right one.
You know what time it is when you hear this one, right? Injury time.
He's back.
I was about to say, let's get ready to rumble. If you know that one, and you are elite. But fire in the booth from way back. Injuries. Dan, we always talk about injuries before we talk about the 11. They have a few.
They do.
They have a few.
And you know what? I'm really pleased by the injuries that they have.
So, I think the injuries lead to a certain someone starting. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, because anyone who saw the thing, it was on my 11. So,
well, their injuries: Igor injured, Webster injured. That's 2 centre backs down. Lamptey injured, Jason Steele injured, James Milner injured, Kaduolu injured, Solly March injured, Veltman injured, Vifer injured. However, Rutter is 50-50, which is a little bit strange because on here it says he's out till the 25th of next month of the 5th. So it says there's a possibility he could play, but I don't think that'll be the case. If I'm really honest.
Think so, because I'm also pretty certain that Hertzler said that he could be out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
or at least one of the journalists said that. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, well, because of this, I haven't got Rutter in my team at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. And also, it wasn't because I remember I saw it on TV as well, and it was one of those off the ball injuries. He's definitely injured.
So, taking all of that into account, let's go through my predicted team. I need to change Chris Richards just in case.
Oh, O'Reilly. I forgot he existed there, actually.
So, I mean, to be fair, you could put Pedro there. But I thought O'Reilly, he played in the 10 for Celtic. So that'll probably make sense. But for us, I have gone with Henderson in goal with Mitchell, Gay, Lacroix, hopefully Richards, but in the meantime, Lerma and Munoz. In the middle, I've gone Wharton Hughes, and then up top, I've gone Eze, Sarr, Matera. Dan, agree, disagree? What are we thinking?
Yeah, I went exactly the same. Yeah. I mean, I put Pedro in the 10 instead, but I think they've got a lot of scope to change players out. To be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, Hertz was a very, very rotational manager. He doesn't really stick with an 11 very often. Even a winning team, he doesn't really stick by it. So to be fair, it could be O'Reilly. You never know. Welbeck could play in a 10. Who knows? He's done it before.
Yeah.
But they do play in a 4-2-3-1 formation. But you may be looking at my screen and thinking, that ain't no 4-2-3-1 I've ever seen. Dan, is there anything, because it's more of an attacking thing why he sets up in this kind of way. In a way, they want it to look a bit like this. So you've got 3 lines, let's say. You got your front 4 here, you got your middle 4 here, and you got your back 2 here. So they're basically playing 4-4-2 backwards. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's very much what I saw in their build-up. But interestingly, I think as well, like I think out of possession, I think Minty seems to drop a lot more now than maybe they did before.
Out of possession, obviously going into a little bit of what I'm talking about. Out of possession, they used to be. Then again, let's talk about this a bit now. I actually had a little bit of a look to the difference between how they were at the start of the season and how they are now. because right now they're actually a much better team all round compared to at the start of the season. And funny enough, I think that Hertzler made the change after our game, and he sort of implemented some of what we do within Brighton's team.
And well, he did say he admires Glasner
a little bit too much. He has posters of Glasner on his wall. They may be sticky, but
they got crusty edges.
Oh, it's all wrinkled.
He doesn't need blue tack on for those on the wall. Disgusting.
Ew, brother. Ew. Oh man. Let me just write that down, just so I don't forget that one later. Yeah. How they used to play, it was a little bit wrong, let's say. So let's just take players out of their position. So don't take this into account a little bit too much. But genuinely, how they used to play was 3. Essentially 0. And then like 7.
Yeah.
I
think he realised that didn't really work in the Premier League.
Yeah, so he's essentially he played like this. So you got your defense, and then you got no midfield, and then you got everyone else running forwards. And then if he thought he was gonna go and defend against another team, he would play 3-1-6, which isn't much better. And very shocking similarities to actually Ten Hag with how he used to play football. He used to play football very similar to this. They'd either blow someone away or get killed. And that's really what happened. I think at the start of the season, people were caught a little bit off guard thinking, wow, I've never faced a circle formation in my life. But now, I mean, it is. You got your wing back here. He was playing as a wing back. You got everyone up here.
Yeah,
essentially, it's a circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they realized that when we played against them, because we had essentially a back 5 and we pretty much went man for them at the back, they really didn't know what to do with us. And the fact that how our press works compared to how their press used to work, it just completely took them apart, basically. So no disrespect to any of their players, but they're not individually brilliant players, let's say. You've got your odd player here or there. You've got your Pedro. You've got your Belieber to some tacticos, let's say. But I think Belieber's a little bit overrated.
I think the same thing, funnily enough.
Okay. If I was to give him a comparison, I'd say he's a little bit more mobile, Cheick Decore, but he can't pass as well as Cheick Decore. That's if I was going to give him a profile, let's say.
Yeah, I think he's like a decent sort of like 8 destroyer, but I don't think. I was a bit underwhelmed when watching.
He's not.
Back.
He's
like,
not. I thought he gave the ball. Great.
He gave the ball away a lot more than I thought he would.
Yeah, he's not particularly great passer, and as a number 6, to be fair, you need to be really good at passing to play that position well. Like Caicedo was an elite passer that could also do the destroying, but Belieber's just not quite there. Maybe it's just his age, but
he's still young, to be fair. Yeah.
But yeah, basically, he saw that we hunted in packs when we pressed, and basically we left their team to their individual ability because they were so spread out that we literally had all the time in the world to do whatever we wanted to here. And also the fact that even their midfielders here, they never really ran back to help. And one thing that also didn't help is, I don't know, let's say Eze has got the ball here. And he's running towards Van Heck, let's say, coming in from this side. Their centre-backs are so quick to jump out that just a little bit of skill would literally drop you past someone. And we saw it from Sarr against them. Dunk tried to cut across him and sweep the ball away, but he got his head to it. And the second he did that, no one was catching him just because of how aggressive and how high their line was. Bearing in mind, they don't actually have very quick centre backs. So, all of that just sort of played into our hands really well. And I think he saw that and went, yeah, if our biggest rivals are doing that to us, and bearing in mind that game, we should have won it 4 or 5-0.
Yeah.
I remember a goal getting ruled out for Sarr, and I remember another goal being ruled out because they said that Sarr pushed Estepinian, but I still don't believe that was a push. I think it was still a very soft way to go down, and then Munoz put the ball in the net.
Yeah, that was harsh. And then you also think like Nketiah had a 1v1 that he probably should have scored. He probably scored that now. Now he's got a couple of goals in the bag.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously we scored an own goal for them. So, but guy like their lineup. I'm so glad that Dunk is back, and also he's not long come back from injury as well. So he's probably still lacking a little bit of match fitness. And I'll talk about a bit more in the attack, but I think Ruto is going to be a really big miss for them.
Yeah, and basically the last thing I wanted to say is that the thing that they are doing to make themselves a little bit more solid, apart from the pressing and this and that, is that when they're actually off the ball, one of Baliba or Ayari do this and slot into the back line completely. And then one of normally it's Minte, and they sort of defend, I guess, in like a 5-3-2. And they like to be really tight and really compact. They'll give you the wide spaces, but they want it to be that whenever you try and go in here towards the goal, there's just too many bodies in the way. So he's just taken a lot of what we do and how we're so good at defending and implemented that into their team. But that's the team I've gone with. Dan went with Pedro. I went with O'Reilly, but it really could be either or. I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely. There's been some more comments, so just quickly go through these, and then we'll crack on with the attack. So, did we sell out Southampton? Yes, we did. To be honest, we always sell out Southampton. It's a very easy one for people to do. It's not too far. And yeah, Brighton have just signed Tommy Watson. That's another one of their long-term projects who they'll take a gamble on and hope he turns out good. And then if no one ever remembers him, who cares? Big up Damo. Boys who were out midfield too last time we played them.
Hughes, Lerma.
Yeah, it was Hughes and Lerma. So we didn't even have Wharton, so bear that in mind. Dog is watching Teo. And Port Vale use glad all over. Yeah, a few teams do. I think Blackpool do as well. Last away goal we conceded was our own goal that we scored. And the last away goal we actually conceded that was scored by someone else was Aston Villa in November. That's crazy. The last away goal that wasn't an own goal was in November.
You know what this means, right? Southampton are going to score.
Well, we've already got the record for 6 away clean sheets on the bounce.
In all competitions.
So, yeah, in all comps as a top flight team. That's crazy. And like I said can't remember when, I think it was on the review, not even Chelsea's team that conceded 15 goals did that. That's crazy. The Invincibles didn't do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mary, yeah, they copied us. From what I've seen of Minter, don't rate him as highly either. Really, I do. I tell you what, let me do the thing, and I'll just got to make sure it's the right one. I think it's that one. And then I'll talk about Minter a little. Sorry, JC, do you mind putting my thing up? It won't let me do it because it just says loading on there for some reason. But I don't really want to leave and come back because I don't know. I feel like something bad will happen. But anyways,
Michael might return.
Michael might return. So, what have Brighton done? So I've got some stats for you all. They've created 11.2 XG since I've done it since the Forest game when they got battered 7-0. Just wanted to put that out there. 7-0 it was. 7 goals they conceded without reply. But interestingly, since then, 7 goals. 7, not
really?
6, not 5, not 6.
7.
7 to Nottingham Forest.
Square root of 49.
Seven's a prime number. That's all I've got. But interestingly, since then, they haven't. The amount of touches that they have in the attacking penalty box and the attacking third hasn't actually increased, I don't think. Although I think it might have increased maybe a little bit with respect to the amount of possession that they've had. They have had the second best form since then. 13 points to our 12. I think Liverpool had the best form. They haven't increased the number of shots they take, but they have increased the amount of XG that they create per shot. So I think they're creating better opportunities. But I'm going to talk about this, why they do this or how they do this, although I'm not 100% convinced. Interestingly, some of those games that they have played, they've had the fewest touches this season. So when they beat Chelsea 3-0, that was the least amount of touches they had in a Premier League game this season. When they drew a City, that was the second fewest that they've had all season. And when they beat Bournemouth, that was the 5th fewest that they've had all season. So I think that's very interesting. And I think it will make sense in a minute. So what do they do? We've already briefly touched on this, but let's say they start from over here. What they'll do is they'll push these players really high. These players will come out here and they try and use the goalkeeper as the extra man. They'll have their pivots here. Belieber will sort of fill into this space. And Ayari will be a bit more pushed up. And I think the goal of what they're trying to do here is that they're trying to immediately put pressure on the back line. So what you'll see is, so let's say we've pushed up over here. What that would mean for us, because they have these players over here, these players don't really start so wide. So what that would mean for us, for example, is that we would need to drop these players and then potentially make a choice between do we mark these players? How are we gonna figure out these wide players over here? Because I know inevitably we'll stick a man on Belieber. He's a big Justin Bieber fan. In the middle, and that's what they do. And then as they kind of progress up the pitch, if they haven't hit it long, because they will try to hit the space in behind here. What I do notice that they do is that they will, let's say they do kick it long, and let's say we win the header here. If we win the header here, what you effectively done is that you have pushed the team back. And we do this as well. So I think this is kind of similar to what JC was saying in the sense of like he's copied or maybe tried to emulate some of it, although I guess he was doing a little bit of it before. But let's say one player will win the ball, or even if we win the ball, they'll look to win second balls in this space behind here. And they'll aggressively try to do it. So it could be a Yari coming back or whoever the centre midfielder is to try and win the ball. Whether that's maybe someone dropping off, they're going to try and win this second ball in this area because what they want is they really want to be facing their goal. So let's say Pedro receives the ball here. Maybe not him so much, he's a bad example, but he's happy. He wants to be running towards our goal. Same with Mitoma. Mitoma wants to be running towards the opposition goal. Pretty much all of these players would prefer that. The difference is where you have players like Welbeck and Pedro, and this is why I think they're going to really miss Ruta, because when they do things like this, someone like Ruta is really good. I think he's been he's been a really good acquisition for them, to be honest. Just to give him a little bit of praise, but not too much. But he's very good at finding. Let's just put these in a more defensive position, something like this. He's really good. He was really good at finding these pockets here. And what I thought Ruta was also really good at was being able to find players, and not just from these long balls either. Let's say that they do have the ball over here and they're trying to break us down. And what they will try and do is they'll try and ping diagonal passes into this, these kind of areas here. And especially into someone like, I guess Pedro's pretty good at it, to be fair, and so's Welbeck. But I think Ruta was really good at just finding the space in between the line, and then being here, and then just offloading the ball for then someone else to then run onto it, and then they're facing the opponent's goal. And I thought that was something that he was really good at doing, and he's one of the reasons why I think they'll really miss him.
He's also as he picks up those spaces, he's also really good at like one-touch passing to like as a give and go. So he'll receive the ball from deep, but then he'd be able to flick the ball over the top of the defenders or put them in the line of a striker within one touch. So he's very good at doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's what I was saying earlier. Like I genuinely think he'll be a really big miss, because I think Pedro is decent at it. Welbeck's probably pretty good at it, to be honest. But I mean, what I would imagine is we'll go very aggressive because we've got the extra man in the back line. We'll go very aggressive on anyone that drops, and I think that's how it should be. Now let's contrast that. For example, let's say Mitoma's here, right? Mitoma will press the back line when, let's say, they've got the ball, I don't know, like here. The only time he will ever drop is if, let's say, a gap opens up here. He will only drop if it means that he's then got the ability to turn. Obviously, we don't really want that to happen because we're in this position. That's not ideal, really. With obviously other players maybe a bit more advanced and what have you. So with someone like Mitoma, as long as you keep him, and to be honest, all of their players apart from, I would say, in this case, Welbeck and Pedro, they don't really like playing with their with themselves facing their goal. I feel like, for example, let's say Mitoma receives it on the line here. I feel like you can kind of crowd him out and force him back. And obviously, in this case, if if I don't know, they do make that little run there, pass it back, we're still back in our relatively low block, and we're still able to go man for man with their back line. And also, this is another interesting thing. I don't know what to make of Hinshelwood at right back. I think if it was Lamptey, I would maybe be a little bit more worried about this, our left hand side and their right hand side, because Lamptey was very good at. Because one thing I do think Minter is a very good dribbler, in my opinion. And what I find with Minter, especially when they're on a transition, he's very good at moving inside and taking players with him. I thought he was very good at doing that. And someone like Lamptey was very good at overlapping. And then that's how they created a lot of their opportunities and goals in recent times. But obviously, Lamptey since got injured. And I think Hinshelwood is more of a midfielder, I think, than a right back. I'm not saying that we can disregard him. Obviously, that would be silly to do that. But I do think he's not going to be as effective on that right-hand side as, say, a Minter. And I think if Minter runs inside, I think as long as what I would imagine would happen and what I think should happen, let's say Minter does receive the ball and he moves inside, I know Eze will have defensive duties, but I think he will need cover. And I think it's important that Will Hughes is there, because if Minter goes inside, I think Will Hughes put a bet on him getting booked. That's all I'm going to say.
Because I think he doesn't need to really hold back anymore now, does he? Because he's only got a few games left.
Yeah, and then it will reset. So yeah, he can fill his boots as long as he don't get sent off. We're all good there. And I think, on this side, I think you can kind of already see, and this is a good thing about playing the back five, I think, is that they haven't really come across that in the league. And I think, Yeah, and I think there's a kind of a natural unit here of Mitchell, Gay, Hughes, Eze, where you've already naturally got an overload here. Yes, Belieber could come outside here, but I think the thing is with Belieber doing that, I think Welbeck will be more likely to move over, or Mitoma to move over, and then Ayari to push up in this particular situation, and maybe Estupinian will drop back, then Belieber will. The reason why, I guess this is talking about JC's bit a little bit, but I think the reason why that is simply because Belieber is a significantly better defender than Ayari is. And I think Belieber is quite pivotal for their kind of stopping transitions. So I don't think he's going to go over there as much. What other things can we say? Yes. So I've talked about diagonals. They create spaces. Oh yeah. And so like if they are, if a team is in a low block like this, what they will do is because they have so many players on the line here, what they can do then is they can afford to drop players. And then what that could mean is that someone follows and then you can exploit the space in behind. Again, similar, you could perhaps have it with the second line of pressure as well, where maybe, I don't know, Mitoma drops and then, I don't know, Wharton, or I don't know, let's say Ayari drops or whatever, Wharton follows him, and then you got Mitoma in behind just with that little extra gap of space, perhaps. That's another thing that they do. What else do I have? Yeah, they look for deepish runs on the transition. They're definitely a lot better in transition than they are against low blocks. I think they struggle against low blocks personally. And because they are in transition, because they do like to attack in transitions, I've always found if they win the ball in this kind of area, that's when they tend to make opportunities. When they're asked to build out from the back, they do eventually kind of get there, but I wouldn't be as worried about it. I think if we have a decent shape and we're all switched on, then I think he'll be okay. But certainly if
they were really good under that with De Zerbi, but they've sort of lost that a little bit now.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think part of them also going long is maybe a part of that as well. But a lot of their chances and goals they've made, say, since the Forest game, have all been chances where they've won it in this area. And to be fair to them, they do have a decent press. And I think the purpose of the press is an attacking press in the sense of they're trying to generate turnovers to try and create chances, not to control the game. And I think that's kind of where you'll see that. There's just one picture I want to show. And sorry, JC, do you mind when I put this on there? Do you mind just chucking on there? Cheers. Thank you very much. So this is just their build-up shape. This is against Newcastle. And in my opinion, I don't think Newcastle defended this very well. But it could be a good way that we can look at to, try and...
Brighton are in the yellow, just in case.
Yeah, Brighton are in the yellow, people. And the red. Oh, they got extra players on the pitch. No wonder they won the game. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. So you got Verbruggen here, or whoever it is there. And then you got their very wide centre-backs, as we said. You got Belieber here, who's pretty much the sole pivot there. I guess he's trying to draw this player here just to have someone sat there. To be honest, I don't really know why Newcastle sat so deep. I think the reason why Newcastle sat so deep is for the reasons I was talking about, how they ping them forwards and try and play off that. But as you can see here, you got Lamptey over here, and then Estupinian's all the way over here, and this is Ayari, so he's slightly more forwards. Now, interestingly, what happened was they pressed like this, but then the keeper was able just to press out over here. And this happened a few times, so I don't know if it was just a bad press or if they were intentionally trying to get to Webster. But you could have it. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's say this is us. This is Mateta. This is Eze. So he's kind of hybrid system. Watching Van Hecker, if he receives the ball, he's going to come out and meet him. But also standing on Belieber just in case. You've got Anthony Gordon, who's who's kind of playing as a more defensive winger there. You're watching Lamptey for a long pass over there. But what you could happen is as soon as that goes there, one trigger could be that, okay, they're probably going to pass over here. So as soon as they make that pass, could you have Sarr push up there and then perhaps have Adam Wharton push up? I think that is a possibility. And if Dunk's going to be playing there, bear in mind he hasn't played very much recently, I don't think that's going to be too of a bad idea perhaps to have. But yeah, but anyways, that's my thoughts on Brighton. I do think they'll struggle if we sit in a low block. I think they'll struggle against us. And yeah, I think as long as we don't get sucked in, and I think as long as we're aggressive on the two players who are probably going to drop, and you don't allow Mitoma space to turn in that line in between in that gap between the lines of pressure, I think we'll be okay. And like I said, I think we don't have to worry too much about their right hand side as much because Lamptey's not around, so there's not going to be too much overlapping whilst Minty's moving inside. Yeah, I think we'll be all right personally. But yeah, have you got any questions, JC?
No, not really. I think that there's a massive change where they've kept their very attacking style, but they've just sort of added two midfielders within their circle. So instead of having a circle, they've made a no entry sign. So it's in a way it's sort of similar to us again. How we've got 5 at the back, 3 up front, and then you got 2 in the middle again. But I think one thing that I think is very key, as you said, that they're very keen on moving forwards. I think the intensity of them moving forward, they're not afraid to make a more risky pass if the outcome could be that they're going to get the ball up the pitch even faster, like they're extremely direct. And I think that's probably the only other thing I would have said. Yeah,
no, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Definitely a very direct team. Oh, yeah. And, and I think if we're covering that, actually, that has reminded me, if we're covering that, we just got to make sure we're aggressive winning those second balls. And if it means that, you're sweeping that ball back and you're even having to pass it back to Henderson, so what? Like, you're basically, you're limiting them there. But yeah, that's my bit. Just go through some comments and then we'll go through how they defend. Where did we get to? ±7. Blackpool also use Glad all over. So do Rotherham, Barrow, Macclesfield, Swindon Town, Woking, and Yeovil Town. Arsenal use it. Arsenal use it versus Spurs. Oh, what? So did they sing "We've got Mick Arteta" or something?
No, I remember they used to have it, but they said we've got Granit Xhaka. If I remember correctly.
Granit Xhaka, how random.
Well, that was a few years ago, though.
Yeah. Forest are winning 1-0. Elanga ran the ball from United corner whole length of the pitch. Sounds about right. Do y'all know what Mark and Maxence both have a higher sofa score rating than Saliba? Might be because they kept more clean sheets, I'm guessing. For the money and hype around it, I haven't seen the value, but I don't make a habit of watching Brighton games. This is purely only based on what I've seen researching this one, to be honest. Wolves are beating Wet Spam. Teo's had a really bad game so far, and Animal thinks that Teo will be sold or let go depending on his contract. Yeah, I think that move, that loan to Coventry, I think I don't know. I feel like he hasn't really progressed since then. It's been a bit.
I think it was too high too soon. Yeah. I think no matter what, I don't care how good you are, I think a champ loan straight away is too much.
Yeah,
because even Ratsaki, who's been probably the best person to come out of our academy in ages, he's still really struggling in the championship. Yeah, and he's had like 2 or 3 loans as well in lower leagues.
Yeah, and even Ozo as well. Like, I mean, he's had injuries, so that loan hasn't gone that well for him either.
To be fair, I think Ozo would have been absolutely fine if he could stay fit.
Yeah, And that's the thing I want. Like, is it because of the football they're playing? Has it been unlucky? I guess we'll never know.
To be fair, for someone like Ozo, he's 6'4" and he's only 18, so he's gonna get injuries until he fully grows into his body, isn't he?
Yeah, true. That is true. Right. Anyways, let's talk about Brighton's defense.
So yeah, we sort of spoke about it a little bit earlier with how they defend. So they definitely do defend in a 5-3-2 with one of the wingers tucking in, one of the midfielders dropping into the back line, and they have two people out here to press. So they do press. It's not very aggressive though. So for example, against a team that plays three at the back, their press, they would need an extra man up there, I would say, which would take one of their players out of position. And if that is the case, then it'll probably work in our favor a little bit more. So instead of them overloading us in the middle, it'll be more one-on-one. But I'll put O'Reilly back there for now. But how they defend, they want to stay as narrow and as tight as possible. So they want the half space in between the players. So here they want it to be pretty much non-existent. And they also want that the space in the pocket here to be non-existent as well. So they want to keep themselves tight, compressed, and they want to keep it so that you don't have any time on the ball if you get past the ball in this area. They want to grab the ball and stop you from having it as soon as possible. So as I said, they sort of want to try and travel in packs. So let's say if Mateta's got the ball here, right here, and let's move Mateta back a bit. So if he's like here, let's say, before he's even gotten the ball turned and tried to run. So let's say Wharton's passing the ball and he's received it here. You're gonna see all three of these players try and converge on him and try and win that ball. Yes, it does mean if Mateta can get the ball away from him and pass it back to one of our players, we've pulled three of their players out of the way. But in such a tight and congested area of the pitch, that's going to be extremely hard to do, which is why they want to move in packs in really small, confined spaces, because they just make it as hard as possible for you to pass the ball. And also, if Mateta does pass the ball, but it ricochets, because of the amount of people in there, there's more times than not, Brighton will get the ball and then they'll be able to change into a transition. And because they've got two decently fast players up front, they can look to go route one and try and score like a counter-attack goal like that with just the speed in which they want to progress the ball forwards to their forwards. And bear in mind, this could be Minte and Welbeck. It could be Matoma and Welbeck. It could be Welbeck and Pedro. There are lots of different people that you can put in that area. But the main thing that I would say that sort of leans into quite nicely how I think we can attack them is because of how narrow they are, they will give you this space out wide on both sides. They'll happily give that to you. Yes, Hinselwood's not actually a fullback, but I'd still say he's probably better at defending than Estepinian. Estepinian for me is literally just a winger that plays left back. But if you have got the ball out here to Munoz, they will commit one player. But that is it. So here is probably a game where I would tell Mitchell and Munoz, take on your man. Because both of them, they're not incredible defenders 1v1. And then both not incredible attackers 1v1. And if we can hold our formation, keep them exactly like this, and then Munoz is left here to a 1v1, Sarr is more than fast enough to make a quick diag here. Dunk ain't following that. In behind here, and then we've got the ball in behind their back line. So that could be something that we could look to do as like a little bit of a surprise attack, let's say, maybe. But having the ball out wide, they're not concerned about it. If he comes out, if Munoz can beat him, then what do we see here, Dan? It's a 1v1 all the way across the front line, which in the attacking favour, that is very, very good in our favour. I apologise, dog.
JC overestimating size.
It's a good size. Yeah. Well, to be fair though, Dan, with our height, we've got to get all the inches we can get.
Nah, that's why I'm short.
That's why I'm shorter. The only other thing that they really do, apart that it's not really like immensely tactical, really. They just defend with a lot of energy. They do like to throw themselves in front of the ball, and it's just a lot of work rate, really. There's nothing tactically amazing about it. The most tactical thing that they do is probably move Belieber into the back, and that really from the middle of the pitch to about where I've set the back line here, if you've got, let's just put everyone back a bit. If you've got Eze here with a ball and he's running towards the back line, they will just back off until they get to about here, a third of the way towards the goal. Whereas before, the second Eze gets the ball, they'll step out and try and attack the ball and tackle it. But what's happened is that Hertz has seen the amount of times they've jumped out of their back line and they've just played around them, and then their back line's in ruins because they're all over the place. No one's trying to cover positions that are left because people have committed and they're just not there anymore. But what he has done is he's told them to do this so they can, hold off to about here before they actually engage. The reason why they do that is to make it harder for our players to pick runs in behind, but also it gives their midfield time to follow back and maybe make a challenge in here without these guys having to actually step out of their line. So that's one thing that Hertzler has changed, to be a little bit more passive until they get into the critical areas, but it does help them in the defending in the long run because they can actually make tackles with the midfielders instead of the defenders.
Mm-hmm.
But the second they get to this area, they're straight back out doing what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, that's really about it. Like I said, nothing tactical, nothing outstanding. It's just a lot of effort, throwing men in front of the ball and just making sure that we don't have time on the ball or space.
Yeah. I think, because I feel like their main issue really was kind of sorted by the way they've changed their attack. Sorry, as in their defensive issues, I think, because obviously in the beginning you showed that they had so many players going forwards, like you say, it was like basically like Erik ten Hag. Well, famously, Erik ten Hag's, the rest defense and getting hit on transitions was just diabolical. So, and then Brighton kind of had the same sort of issue, but they seem to have just balanced it a bit better in attack. So then just don't really.
So this is how they looked against us when they were attacking. So they are very spread out, but there are just so many people in the attacking third for them.
Yeah,
that I think when
is that Estupinian at the bottom as well?
Yeah. So down here, that's Estupinian. So literally, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they've only got 2 centre backs behind this. Everyone else is forwards. And put it this way: if we win the ball, Lerma's not there, but let's say Lerma's here and he intercepts the ball. Sarr's goal side, Eze's goal side, and Mateta's up here somewhere. So if we win the ball from here, all he has to do is turn around, and then it's a 4-on-2 in our favour.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you look at how they played against Fulham, you can already tell instead of the spread out, there's a lot of them in the central areas. But by doing this, they've left Belieber back a lot, and they're trying to help each other a lot more. So you can tell just just from like a slight little change in formation, a slight little change in tactic, that they've got a lot more people back here. It's just the first thing, but they've actually got a midfield now instead of everyone gunning it forwards.
Yeah, and I think as well, like when you got so many players in that area, it's the classic gegenpress, I think, isn't it? Because like, you know, you've got so many players in that area that if you do pass the ball and you do lose it in that area, well, there's so many players around there that you can do that really quickly. And I just want, I was gonna show, but I went short, so I'm just gonna I just want to show an example of the occasion, like occasionally when they where's my paint.net? Oh my god! Well, it's done. It did this the other day. It doesn't see my paint.net for some reason. Right. Let me do the whole screen. Right. Let me just do the whole screen. Sorry.
Well, before you do that, let me just say how I think we should attack them.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry, mate.
First things first. They don't like being pressed at all. They've got one of them. I think they've got the 4th highest turnovers and passes that have been intercepted in the whole league.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Winning the ball up high, they've got a lot. Their defenders and their goalkeepers, I wouldn't go through all of them, but put it this way. Mistakes that leads to goals. Van Bruggen, mistakes, errors that have led to goals. 6 errors have led to 6 goals as a goalkeeper. Van Heck, 4 errors, 4 goals. That's 10 goals already. And I haven't even said any more defenders. But cool. That's cool. Centre-backs make ruthless challenges when their defence is all over the place. Because even though they do like to back off until they get to a third, as I said, the second they get to that third, they'll still step out. So you could still do the nice little step over and pull them all out of position, even closer to their goals. That could work in our favour as well. And the thing that works even more into our favour is, Dan, did you know they are the joint top team that have conceded the most penalties this season?
Oh, they really?
7 penalties, joint with Wolves at the top.
I didn't know that. We didn't get a penalty. We didn't get a penalty against them, did we?
No.
But do you reckon that's because they do, when their backs are to the wall, they do defend a bit aggressively, or maybe it's a sign of the transitions, maybe?
I think the reason why potentially they didn't commit any pens against us is because of the speed that we break with. So I had a look back, and pretty much all of the penalties that have been given away is someone sprinting down the line, and then when they get to goal, they chop, and then they just take out their standing leg.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not expecting the chop back.
Yeah.
So Eze loves to do that. So if he does that, we're getting a penalty. Taking shots, yes, that may sound stupid, but let me give you some stats, Dan. I know that's a good stat. This season, Dean Henderson is plus 4.63 with goals prevented. So he's saved 4.5 more goals than he statistically should have.
Nice. Is that PSXG? Yeah. Nice.
Can you guess what Van Bruggen's is?
Oh, he's in the minus.
Minus 4.5. So it's literally a swing completely the other way to him.
And apparently,
so he's good with his feet. Cool. With his hands, awful. They've basically got Sanchez all over again.
Yeah.
Dunk is playing. So attack him. Make sure you rub it in his face. And last thing is set pieces. They're really not good at defending set pieces. They're good at attacking them, but defending, they're a little bit all over the place. But we are pretty all right at doing that. And that's all for how to attack them. Nothing too amazing.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be definitely an interesting game for that. And I think, the way that they play, Like you do, and I agree. Like attacking Dunk, I think is going to be important because he's lacking match fitness. He had a bit of a mare the last time we played him. They do play with that high line, and
Not
like
very
I said,
quick.
we see how many players they commit forwards. You know, you win the ball in that middle area, and you just maybe get Sarr on that, and also perfectly matches up with Sarr on that right hand side as well.
Mm-hmm.
You do wonder. And there was just one thing I wanted to show. Is it on there yet? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can put this away. Do you see that?
Ooh. Also, here's a funny stat for you, Dan, that I didn't know.
Go on in.
You know how you've got saves and parries. So you've got like whether it's a caught, whether it's parried, whether it's punched. You know, I mean, I don't know whether this is true, but in the league, statistically, they said that Henderson has never caught a shot. It says 0.
Caught a shot?
Yeah, saves caught 0.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Right. I don't know whether that's true or not.
I don't believe that. I'm sure he's 100 because he's surely
one
caught
straight at him. He must have caught those, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
got to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, unless he just doesn't face many shots on target. I mean, that to be honest, that our defense is that good at the moment. Oh, sorry. Oh, well, whilst here, you can see this as well. Like we can't.
He's only conceded how many 2 goals from outside the box, Henderson.
Jesus. I mean, you know, we concede the. Oh no, we do concede. No, sorry, that's us. Wait. Wow. What? We take the 6th most shots of any team in the league.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one there. So against Crystal Palace per 90. Well, we're about mid-table, I suppose. But the last thing I just wanted, because I wasn't sure whether to talk about it in my bit, because just because like the bit with the press is like, you know, are they trying to win it there? Are they trying to, do you know what I mean? But anyway, it's a press against Chelsea. So I noticed, so they seem to have like a hybrid kind of system. So you'll notice, right? So this is against Chelsea. They've got 5 players here, and 4 of their players there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think they've done this on purpose as well, because I think they want to have the +1 like on this side of the pitch. Because you think about it, even in this side of the pitch, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players to Chelsea's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, obviously, Chelsea aren't a shining beacon of, you know, good play here. But there is one thing, though, that I think. So this is their press. And like I said, they win the ball in this area. Generally, they'll create a chance or they'll score. That's how they've done it quite a lot recently. But a way of kind of avoiding that, and I think bypassing that. So in this case, so I'm not really thinking about it in terms of like how can we use this to attack them, but just how can we stop them? How can they stop this kind of pass, right? So he passed it back to the keeper. They're running onto the keeper, blah, blah, blah. Don't really have any options, but I think there is an option there. I think there's 2 options there.
Next to the referee, you lift it.
Yeah, that's Cole Palmer. And you can't see, but their players are round about here. So you could argue, yes, by the time he gets there, you know, blah, blah, blah. I think that's one option. I think there's another option as well, which he does take, the thing is, Mitoma's already going. So even if their player here, which again, this is what I'm saying, Chelsea aren't exactly a shining beacon of good play, but Noni Madueke is over here. Again, why can't he just drop there? And I think, you know, I do think maybe we can, and obviously we like to play a long ball anyway. So should we be too worried about losing the ball in these areas? Obviously we should be worried, but I feel like the way we play kind of naturally is against that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like we also give like different options as well.
Yeah.
So like you've got Adam Wharton who will come and show for the ball. You've got Will Hughes who would come and show for the ball. Even Eze, when he like pulls out really wide, then you could lift the ball over to him or Sarr or someone like that.
Exactly.
Or even if you really wanted to, I'm sure Mateta would happily go toe to toe one of their centre backs.
Yeah.
And I would back him to win that as well.
Yeah, yeah. And also as well, like the good thing about having the 5 at the back as well is that, because I was thinking, but would I want that to be lifted over the top to Sarr? Like, would he really be good at receiving it in that position? But because we got 5 at the back, we've also got like an attacking overload there as well. Because Munoz could drop, Sarr could drop. They said like Adam Wharton will be in that proximity. So as long as you get the ball to him, he's more than capable, obviously, as we know, to turn around and ping a pass somewhere. But yeah. But anyways, let's go through some comments. Final comments.
I've just seen Elanga's goal. It's amazing.
I'll have a look. I'll probably watch half of one of the games so far. Games are going in our favourite, to be honest, at the moment.
I've got the video here, so when we're done, I can share my screen and show you.
Nice. Right, let's have a look at these. Mary started going. Oh, sorry. Let me say good night to Animal. Good night, Animal. Mary started going to Selhurst in 1967-68, and Gladwell Oval was well established. I remember us banging the hoardings as kids, and Durfez still does that to drum up atmosphere in the Arthur Way. As in our claret and blue days, Millwall and Charlton were our derby rivals long before the development of the Brighton rivalry. Yeah, I do think, and I've just seen like the rest of the comments here about Millwall, and I think Mitch makes a good point as well. Like, I think the problem is with Charlton and Millwall, we don't really play them very much anymore. Obviously, about 10, 15 years ago, we used to play them a lot more regularly. I feel like who the biggest rival is does kind of change sometimes. But certainly Millwall, I think, probably are more traditional rivals. And then Brighton obviously developed. I feel like Charlton sort of came about a bit more later. I don't know if maybe it's because I remember playing them a lot more. 10, 15 years, 10 years ago, but like 15 or 15, 20 years ago. And obviously, obviously getting relegated by them and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like they've been more of a recent one. And yeah, Charlton have fallen so far. They're less urgent, and yeah, it is interesting seeing the generations. I think it does depend who you kind of grew up hating, I guess, who you played the most.
Yeah, because for me, I'd probably say Brighton, because that's the only team we've really played that often.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me personally, I would say at the moment it's more so Brighton, because we have played them a lot more recently. There's a bit more fight to it, but then at the same time, I do consider Millwall to be up there. To be honest, I know we joke about not forgetting about Charlton and stuff, but for me, Charlton were a big one for a long time, and I think Charlton hate us a lot more than we hate them, to be honest. But yeah.
And I feel I have like a random dislike for Fulham all of a sudden, just like of the last few months. I don't know.
Their fan, I think like their fans were just waffling a lot on Twitter, though, weren't they? Yeah. I feel like obviously Twitter's more of a thing now. It would have been so interesting to see what would happen when Watford were the evil ones.
They were begging it with us for ages, though, weren't they?
But that's what I mean, though. But if it was on Twitter a bit more, I don't know. I think what you see on Twitter, though, is completely different to what the actual thing is in real life. Because at one point, I think even people were saying, "Oh, West Ham got an Twitter rivalry." But that's the thing; it's just on Twitter, and it's mainly just Benny Esther just winding them up, to be honest. And so, it's a big difference between what happens on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, big up Richards and Henderson for donating a £500 each to that display.
Yeah, absolutely. That just shows that they get the club, and £1,000 is going to go a long, long way to doing that.
Oh, yeah, you probably kit out most of the flags just off that money alone.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we'll all be seeing that for the semi-final. We don't know the dates yet, but
26th or 27th of April.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a Saturday. That would be a lot nicer.
I think it will be the Saturday because Chairman was actually telling me that Sunday lunchtime is the preferred kickoff time for. I mean, it's the prime time kickoff. So we might actually get the Saturday because everyone's going to want to watch Man City, right?
Yeah, I suppose City Forest would be. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it would be. But yeah, Saturday I'll be more happy.
I'd much rather the Saturday.
Yeah, same.
Because if we win, then I have a day to get over the hangover. I said if we win.
If we win, yeah.
We'll to be fair, if we lose,
really want to talk about it.
If we lose, I drown my sorrows, and I can also have a day to recover.
Yeah, whichever way we'll be there. We'll be there. Oh yeah, sorry, I did see your comment, but I didn't put it up there. Where was it? JC drinking the beer so early on Fulham match day.
Like I said, it didn't go down. I can't believe you said I need a kid's drink.
That wasn't me, to be fair. But
who was it? Was it It was
I think
Louis,
it was,
wasn't it?
Oh, maybe I can't remember now. It wasn't me though. It wasn't me though. Right. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching.
Do you want to quickly have a look at these league versus FA Cup average positions?
Oh yeah. Go on in.
There you go. Not much difference. Just Munoz is a lot higher in the league.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. And the thing is with the FA Cup as well, I think, we were 2-0 up for like 2/3 of the game. So I think we were happy just to sit off and let Fulham have the ball, to be honest. But yeah, this week we got a vlog tomorrow. It will be me and Chairman tomorrow because JC is being an excellent partner and future daddy tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so we'll get the vlog out. I won't have it out Wednesday night, but I will hopefully try and have it out on Thursday. But yeah, look forward to that. I don't know what else is going on this week.
I don't know if Rich or Nate is doing a watch along. So maybe we've not had the best of luck if there hasn't been a watch along alongside the vlog. So depending on what time I get home, there may be a watch along for the second half, but I'm not going to promise anything.
So that means we'll be 2-0 down at half time and then we'll win 3-2 at the end of it. So
that would be a generational watch along, by the way.
That would be a generational watch along. Trying to think, because I don't know what else is.
I think Friday we'll do a preview for Brighton.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you all for watching, as always. All your support is really much appreciated, and we'll see you all soon. And sorry, we didn't do score predictions, did we?
Oh yes.
Oh, we didn't do score predictions. Right, I'm gonna say it quickly. I don't necessarily believe this, but I've got to back us 3-2.
Ooh.
I think it'll be 2-1. Yeah. I think it will be a close game. I was deciding between 2-1 or 3-2. But yeah. But anyways, we almost forgot that, but we didn't.
Up the palace.
Up the palace. Eagles.